Good morning, Year 9. Madam Sullivan here. I hope everyone is keeping well. I just want to say amazing work over the last few weeks. I've really been impressed with the work you've done on the identity project so far. If you check out Art Hurlingham on Twitter, you'll see I've shared some of your work, and lots of teachers across the school have been saying how incredible the identity journal pages were. And your zine work as well. So I just want to say excellent work. I think Year 9 have been the highest and most successful achievers for art out of all the year groups. So it's a really great thing to see. And you're really doing a great job with this project. Today's task is you are going to create your own portrait inspired by the artist we looked at briefly, Teesha Moore. So as you can see, I've got some of Teesha Moore's portraits in front of me. What I would like you to do now is combine your skills together that you've been working on over the year. And in the next 2 lessons, so you're going to have 2 weeks to do this. And I would recommend you spend 3 to 4 hours on this task. You are going to create your own very high quality, detailed portrait inspired by the work of Teesha Moore. So there shouldn't be anything copied, but it should be inspired by. Now, this portrait doesn't have to necessarily be of you. However, because the theme is self-identity, it could be that you want to use your identity journals that you completed, and then it really shows fluidity in a project. It could be that you choose to select maybe a close family member that could have worked for the NHS during this time, during COVID-19. It could be something related to the Black Lives Matters protests. I want there to be a portrait that includes a topic close to you, whether it's your own portrait, whether it's to do with the NHS during lockdown, or whether it's to do with maybe a key figure of the Black Lives Matter movement and campaign. So it could be someone like George Floyd. I want you to put your ideas down on a paper using this journal style, using this detailed effect that Teesha Moore uses. So Teesha Moore actually uses a lot of natural forms in her drawings, as well as obviously text, portraits, and lots of detailed features and keywords. So I want you to combine everything together from the journal pages into this and from the portrait project. This is almost like a final piece. This is why you'll have the 2 weeks to do this. There won't be a formal assessment set in art. I will be basing your grade on the project that you've worked on and this final piece as well. And then in the following weeks, you'll also be looking at the artist Ed Fairbairn and maybe one other artist before the end of the school year. But at the moment, over the next 2 lessons, this is going to be the task set to create your own portrait inspired by the artist Teesha Moore, using all of the key features, all of the details, the patterns, the bright colours. You know, it could be that you use key statements. If you were, for example, to choose someone like George Floyd or a key figure in the recent Black rights movement and campaign, you could then have some keywords, some facts. You could have some images that represent it. But I'm giving you 2 weeks to do this because I want it to be done in this detail and in this quality. Yeah, it shouldn't be something you just do very quickly. It should take around 3 hours, this task. I will be assessing you on this piece of work as if it was an end of year task, end of year exam, like your other subjects. So it's a very straightforward task. I would like you to just answer the questions in your book, just on some blank page before this. I don't want you to have this on with writing on a page. I just want this on one page on its own, A4 in your book, because I would like to put them on the wall when we go back to school. So if you've got some high quality paper, that would be fantastic. If you don't, that's okay. If you've got some high quality paper, that would be very successful. And I would like you to combine different materials. You could use watercolours, you could use coloured pencils, you could use oil pastels, whatever you've got at home to be able to do this. But it should have colour and it should use multiple, so more than one materials within this. I wanted to answer the Connect question, like I said, on a separate piece of paper. So finish the sentence. The purpose of creating a zine is, and what makes a successful zine making page. And I've put include discussion on presentation, detail, and key features such as ripping paper. This is to test your learning from last week. So you can just do that on even at the back of your book or underneath the last work that you completed. So some examples for you if you were to paint it. These are painted examples. You might have some acrylic or watercolour at home. And I will add in some tips for you into this PowerPoint on how to achieve that. So think about blending colours, think about blending light and dark shades together, think about the text that you're including, think about the presentation, how are you going to display things on the page. It might be that you sketch out your design, your portrait, in pencil first. Before you go forward, I would highly recommend that you sketch the entire thing out loosely in pencil before you go forward in creating this. It might be that today you only get all of the pencil drawn and a little bit of the painting, and that is fine. Just make sure you send me a progress photo. But you should be spending around, I would say, 1.5 to 2 hours on this task this week. And then next week you will spend the same time. And then hopefully in 2 weeks you will have completed a fantastic portrait inspired by the work of Teesha Moore. That is all for today. I will add some tips and tricks at the end of this. But take care, and I'm looking forward to seeing the outcomes. I have created an example inspired by the work of Teesha Moore to show you and to talk you through in order to help inspire your work on this project and help you create a final piece. So my inspiration, keeping in line with the theme that a portrait should be included in the task, and it should be related to a current event, whether it's how you've been feeling in COVID-19, it could be to do with the frontline workers in COVID-19, or it could be to do with the Black rights protests that have been taking place around the world over the last month or so as well. So I managed to go to the Black Lives Matter protests a few weeks back at Parliament Square. And I decided to go because it's an issue and a topic that is really close to my heart. And I went to the protest and I documented my experience whilst at the protest, and I took some photos. I made this poster here to show my support, and there was a band right at the front of the protest and some incredible posters. And I wanted to share these with you because it is very important. Again, it's similar to the journaling task that you've done, to document feelings and emotions, and also this can be conveyed to help create art. A lot of well-known artists, their work comes from their experiences in life, from their emotions and their development, and you'll start to see that as you begin to understand links between finding your own artistic style. Another person who I wanted to include in my final piece was Rosa Parks. Rosa Parks was a famous activist in America, and she was most commonly known for the Montgomery bus boycott. So years and years ago, Black and white people were segregated and they couldn't sit on the bus together. She was arrested for boycotting this, and she went down to create history and make a big change for Black lives. She's also been called the mother of the freedom movement, and she really helped create much more freedom for Black people, and she's an incredible inspiration. So I wanted to include her as well. All of these things are close to my heart. It might be that you take a slightly different angle on it, but this is now in art the time where you begin to become independent in your ideas. Those of you that particularly that are taking art for GCSE or even media, you'll start to think about topics in your own way, and you'll start to collate information in your own way and put those ideas into your own final creations. So this is my inspiration. You could create something like this. You could use an app on your phone, like I've mentioned previously. PicStitch is a free app, and you can just save images and put them all in one place. You could put them in a Word document, but I would quite like to see you send separately your image page and your progress drawing, because it's quite nice to see the links that you've made. I'm going to talk you through my links in my sketches now. Now, so far I've done a few sketches just to show you the idea. Obviously yours will be completely finished. They won't be as rough as this. These are just to show you how I've put my Teesha Moore inspired ideas together. So if we go back to look at the way Teesha Moore displays and documents her work, she often puts the portrait in the centre. You don't have to do this, you could do it off to one side. It could be smaller, larger, it is up to you. I've included a portrait as the focal point in mine. I've included a quick sketch of Rosa Parks, and then I've built around it. I've also included several portraits in this one, and I've built around that. You can see mine's very sketchy, and the idea is you're going to paint them so they look something like these. So you don't need to press too hard. It doesn't need to be too perfect, because you will be painting on top, and I'll be showing you how to do that next lesson, and then you'll be doing the painting. The painting might take you a couple of lessons. I'm just trying to decide whether to give you 2 or 3 lessons on this task. We'll see how we get on over the next few weeks. But you only need to do 1 A4 page, and it should be very detailed. Going back to this piece, I've included some of my images that I took, some of my photos, just here. So I've included elements of some of the photos. You can see the fist there, some of the posters, No Justice, No Peace, and then I've got Rosa Parks, and then I've got some of these ones that I sketched out as well. So this is the kind of thing that I am looking for today. You don't need to do 2, just 1. I just wanted to show you because I did a few sketches. 1 A4 page, really carefully sketched out, all of your details. You can start painting it if you wish today, if you know how to, if you feel confident. If not, next lesson I will be talking you through the painting stage of this project, and how to add coloured pencils and painting. So something you could be doing is, maybe if you haven't got some paints at home, you can ask mum and dad or whoever if they can purchase some cheap paints for you. These watercolour palettes that we have in school, you can also buy them on Amazon. You can buy single layer palettes, and they only cost a couple of pounds, and they are a really good tool to have if you're thinking about, if you've chosen even art next year and you don't have one. I would recommend, it's useful to have. If you don't have one and you can't get one, just contact me and we'll see if we can figure something out. But it'd be good if you can try and get one in the next few weeks. But today's task, just to clarify, is answer the connect question at the beginning, and then you're sketching out a design like one of these, really carefully inspired by whichever topic you've decided to look at, whether it's your experience in COVID-19, it could be from the perspective of an NHS worker during COVID-19, or it could feature the Black Lives Matter project, which I've obviously demonstrated here. Take care, have a great week, and I will catch up with you soon.